Well, we're nearing the end of August here, and it's been a while since we shot some videos, so we thought we'd come down and take a look at the gardens here. In probably a month and a half or so, we're going to be ready to harvest the roots, and next week we're actually scheduled to harvest the seed. So right now we're in one of our 4-year-old gardens here, and you can see some of the seed is starting to get ripe here. As the seed matures, it turns from the green seeds into the red berries here. And like I said, next week we'll go ahead and we'll harvest the seed off of this garden here. And that's the seed that we will plant come next fall. Ginseng seed, as I've said in previous videos, takes 18 months for it to germinate. So we'll take the seed off of here and we'll take the pulp off of it, which are the red pulp around the outside. And inside you'll see there's usually 2 seeds in each of these berries here, in the 4-year-olds especially. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that in sand, and that's the seed that we'll be planting a year from now. So as you can see, this garden here is very good. We've got a few 5-year-olds on that end of the garden. We'll take a walk into the few of the other gardens here. One thing that we did this year, because we had a fair number of 4-year-olds here, we went ahead and we debudded some of the 3-year-olds. So what we actually did is went through as the plants were blossoming. We went ahead and pulled off those blossoms, and the reason we did that is normally it puts more growth into the root then rather than putting it into the seed. So what we left in this garden here is the seed that we'll need for planting next fall. We'll take a look into the 3-year-olds a little bit later here, and we'll see how we pulled the buds off of them, and there's no seed in those gardens. So why don't we go ahead and let's take a walk over into the seedling garden, see how things are going over there. Well, we took a walk over into the seedling garden here. So this was the garden that was planted last fall. As you can see, the plants in here are a lot smaller than they were in the 4-year-old gardens, but this is as big as they get the first year. So the seedling plant has 3 leaves, which is normally what it does. And if I go ahead and I just dig out one, just to show you the size of a seedling root, they don't grow very much in the first year. Let's see if we can get it out of here. As you can see, there's the seedling root. That's about all the bigger it'll get this year. It'll grow a little bit more, but really a nice root. It's very clean. No disease or anything on it like that. And you can see right here at the top of it is the bud for next year. So the ginseng plants each fall, before they go dormant, they actually put out a small bud, and if you break that open, there's a tiny green plant in there, where the plant will come up next spring when it sprouts again. Ginsengs are perennials, so they die back each year and then they come back with a new plant the following year. So we'll go ahead and, like I said, this plant will come back next year. It'll come out of there. It'll put up one stem. We'll walk over into the 2-year-olds. By the time they're 2-year-olds, they'll probably get about 4 to 5 inches tall, and a lot of times they'll have more, probably 6 to 9 leaves on. They'll have the branches coming out, or the prongs on top there. So they get a fair amount bigger. The roots don't grow a whole lot usually until about the 3rd or 4th year. As you can see in here, we've got the straw mulch on it. And later on, we'll probably take a few shots as we're planting again. If you look at some of our older videos, you'll see some of the planting scenes in there. But the mulch is on here to protect the seed from drying out when we plant, and also to protect it from the weeds, or try to hold back most of the weeds. We've got a few of the oats that came up in here just because some of the grain that was left in the straw. And they don't bother the ginseng at all, so we didn't pick them this summer. They'll just die off this fall when it freezes. So why don't we go ahead and we'll take a walk over to some of the 2-year-olds, and then we'll take a walk into the 3-year-olds and take a look at those also. Alright, now we walked over into the 2-year-old garden here. As you can see, from the seedling year until the 2nd year, the plants get a fair amount taller. They go ahead and they start to get more leaves on them. The characteristic ginseng plant is going to have 5 leaves or leaflets on each what we call prong coming off the top of the plant here. So this plant here is what we call a 2-pronger on top. So it's going to have a total of 10 leaves. So as you can see, if we dig out the root there, they're probably about 3 times the size of a seedling root. They don't get real big this year neither. And a few of the tools actually are mature enough that they start to develop a little bit of seed. There's not enough seed on here that we go ahead and harvest it. So we'd actually rather not have the seed develop, but once in a while it does. So like you said, you can see the progression in size. We went from the seedlings up to the 2-year-olds. And now we're going to take a walk over to the 3-year-old garden. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that garden was all debudded. So you'll see there's a few berries left in there that we missed. But most of the other ones are pulled off of there. So like I said, hopefully the energy that would normally go into producing the seed and the berries is put into the root. So it's a lot of labor to go ahead and do it, but hopefully in the end it produces a better quality root for us and for all of our customers. Alright, now we walked over to the 3-year-old garden here. One of the gardens that we debudded. As you can see, we missed a few of the berries in here. but we got most of them. You can see like a plant like this here was where the seed stem was, and we went ahead and pulled off the top of the seed stem that had the blossoms on at that point, so it went ahead and nothing developed there, and the seed stem just dried back. And you can also see this time of year now, as the plants go dormant, just like you'll see the maple trees and the other trees start to turn color in the fall of the year, the ginseng plants will actually start to turn color before they go dormant. So you can actually start to see a few of the fall colors starting to develop here on the green leaves. You get the purplish reddish hues in here. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are right now in terms of the summer. Like I said, next week, in the first part of September, we're going to go ahead and we're going to harvest the seed off of there. And then hopefully the plants will grow for another month or so before we take off the roof. That when we're ready to harvest on the 4s and 5s that we'll be harvesting this year, we'll go ahead and we'll take down the entire structure, and we'll go ahead and pull out all the posts and everything like that and scrape off the tops, and then we'll harvest. So we'll most likely take some video at that point. Also before that, after we pick the seed next week, we haven't planted yet, so we're going to go ahead and hopefully put in posts either this week or next week, and then go ahead and we'll be planting. We always plant in the fall of the year also, and then that'll come up the following spring. So we've got a lot of field work in front of us right now. It's been a hot and humid summer, but overall the ginseng's done really well this summer, so hopefully the roots reflect that when it's harvest season.